Good evening and welcome to the midweek edition of I'm Still Playing. And tonight we're talking about Dragon Age: The Veilguard. The game drops in less than 24 hours, and while this isn't necessarily one that I'm going to skip work in order to go play, I am pretty excited to dig in. My plan is to sort of play and record my thoughts after each session and then put them together in a series of posts talking about what I like and what I don't like, both from a game design standpoint as well as a player standpoint. But holy smokes, I'm not sure I can in good faith post any thoughts about Dragon Age: The Veilguard without at least acknowledging the 3 or 4 elephants walking around the room regarding this title, right? So before we dive in later this week, I just want to touch on what I think are sort of the 3 hot topics or hot button issues around this title, provide my own personal take on them, and then I'm going to be done talking about these particular issues. Honestly, I'd be very surprised if this whole video is more than 5 minutes in length, because my take is going to be pretty quick. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the reviews. All the reviews dropped yesterday, and honestly, overall, they're actually really pretty good, right? I mean, let's see, Metacritic has it as an 84 at the time of this writing for PS5. PC Gamer gives it a 79 and says, Dragon Age's return nails the action RPG pivot, but falls short of the storytelling the series is known for. And Eurogamer just fucking loved it. I mean, they're calling it like the best BioWare game I've ever played. How about that? And then, even Rock Paper Shotgun, who's fairly well known for giving pretty honest evaluations, calls it a reluctant RPG, but a compelling, heartfelt action adventure. In fact, if you take a peek at the Dragon Age review thread over at Reddit, you'll find that by far and large, most of the reviews are actually pretty darn positive. So why is it that when you go to YouTube and search for Dragon Age: The Veilguard, your browser literally catches fire? I mean, honestly, I've never seen anything quite like this, where so many YouTube reviewers are coming out and not just dissing the game, although there's plenty of that as well, but the actual process of giving the reviews. So what's going on here? Well, I'll save you having to sit through these and just give you the high-level lowdown. Essentially, several YouTube content creators did not get preview game codes to review, even though they had attended the preview event earlier in the year. And they had not given necessarily glowing reviews, and they speculate that the reason they didn't get preview codes was probably because they hadn't given necessarily glowing reviews. And then some other very popular YouTube creators jumped on those YouTube creators in terms of giving reaction videos to those particular creators and more. And what you had was sort of a YouTube let's bash BioWare's review process snowball happen over the last 24 hours. So here's the thing. Did BioWare engage in what I think somebody called it access journalism and show favoritism in terms of who got review codes and who didn't? Almost certainly. I mean, honestly, if there's any of you that don't think that this is not a billion-dollar business industry and that this isn't a huge game and that BioWare is not going to favor reviewers that they think are going to give them favorite reviews or favorable reviews, well, you're kidding yourself. I mean, this is the world we live in, and that's just how business works. But if you look across all of these reviews, there are, there's a fair share of negative reviews as well, but there's also, I don't think BioWare put the shield on for all of these players and all of these reviewers. And here's the other thing to keep in mind. All of those YouTube creators out there that are drumming up enormous amounts of drama by, essentially saying that BioWare is engaging in this horrible, immoral practice, they also make money from engagement, right? They're making money from views, and nothing, pushes impressions more than really high drama. So you should keep that in mind. One thing you can be rest assured is that every one of those YouTube creators is going to buy the game, they're going to play the game, and they're going to continue to make a lot of money by playing the game for you and talking about the game. That's what I'm going to do too. And so, yes, you should give those reviews a grain of salt. You'd be dumb not to give any reviews a grain of salt by any means. But the notion that BioWare has bought the review, the whole review scheme, is a little far-fetched because honestly, there's just when reviewers that I trust are coming out and still giving fairly positive reviews of the game, that's enough for me to press on. Okay, and then the second hot button topic that I want to address briefly, and I really do mean briefly here, is the obvious transgender and LGBTQ inclusions in the game. Now, people are calling it a woke disaster, calling it the Veilguard, saying BioWare has sold out to DEI, etc. But honestly, I just want to say, have you not played any BioWare game in the last decade, right? Because BioWare has had gay relationships and blazingly gay characters as a part of their games for over a decade. You can't be surprised that BioWare is pushing the envelope even further and now adding additional content to include transgender and non-binaries. And while I personally won't choose those options for my character in the character creator, and if one of the NPCs in the game wishes to be basically referred to as non-binary and have they as their pronoun from this point going forward in the game, okay, you know what? That's not going to break the game for me. And honestly, that's really what it boils down to. I've got some transgender friends I've met through the industry, and I think they're going to be thrilled to death to have some of these options and to feel like that they're being included, that their particular choices are being recognized and included in a game. And I'm happy for them to be able to be happy. And you know what? I just won't choose those things for my character, and their enjoyment doesn't take away from my enjoyment. So that's really pretty much where I'm going to stand on this. Yes, those things are present in the game, and if that is a deal breaker for you, then you should definitely not buy the game. But for me, it's not a deal breaker. I'm happy for the people for whom it's able to add inclusion for, and I'm going to continue to enjoy the game regardless. And then finally, the last hot button topic I want to touch about regarding to the Veilguard, and all of these are things I'm talking about without actually having played the game. I don't have any review codes. I'm just going on what I've seen on the internet, and and just like you, right? But there's been lots to see, especially over the last 24 hours, because everyone's posting their reviews and what have you. And the thing that has always kind of thrown me off, and I think has thrown a lot of people off about this game, is the art direction, because it's a pretty huge departure from the previous games. And it was putting off for me as well. In fact, especially the character art direction. Now, the background designs I love, but the character art direction, I'm like, I'm just not really jiving with me. But then I watched Dragon Age Absolution. The series on Netflix, the animated series on Netflix. And suddenly I'm like, oh my gosh, that is the art direction for the Veilguard. I mean, seriously, look at this Canary. And then look at this Canary, right? When I look at this group photo and I look at this group photo, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a 3D animated game. And an additional thing is that if you listen to the dialogue in the animated series, guess what? It's modern as hell, just like the dialogue that we're hearing in the Veilguard. And so, believe it or not, this actually, I don't know, for me, makes it a little easier to accept. If I look at the Veilguard and think of it in terms of a 3D animated action adventure that I'm enjoying, and I stop comparing it frame to frame to the previous games, I'm able to appreciate it as something new and something different, something for it to stand on its own legs and see if I can enjoy it in that aspect. So yeah, that's really pretty much it for the hot button topics for me for around Dragon Age. Like I said, this is going to be a really short video. I think we're probably clocking in around, 5 or 6 minutes tops. So I'm really looking forward to playing the game over the weekend. I'll have a lot more to say about it, hopefully mostly specifically about the game design decisions and mechanics that we're encountering in the game, because that's the stuff I'm really looking forward to trying out and to sharing with you guys what I think is working and not working. Until then, whatever you're playing, you guys have a great time in it and happy gaming. I'll talk to you soon.